Welcome to the Real Estate Show with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Merav Marciano on CJAD 800.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Terry Kilakos, chartered real estate and mortgage broker, as well as president and founder of Northeast Real Estate and Mortgage Agency. And today we're going to be talking about how to make your offer stand out when it comes to multiple offers. In today's crazy real estate market, buyers often come across situations of multiple offers, and having the right tools in hand is critical to make sure that your offer stands out above the rest. Joining me, co-host Merav Marciano, chartered real estate and mortgage broker and vice president of Northeast. And I just want to add one thing. A couple of weeks ago, I was drinking an energy drink on the air, and I drank right when the mic turned on. And you just did the exact same thing.
You heard me swallow.
I did. So you see, it's not only me that messes
You're right.
up.
You're right. I do apologize for everybody hearing me slurp my coffee.
I have to listen to that every morning. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
okay.
That's so nice.
How you doing, Merav?
I'm good. Good.
Excellent. Joining us a little bit later on the show as well, we're going to have Peter Adamopoulos, one of our senior real estate brokers, who's going to be joining us to talk a little bit about the subject and what his experiences have been over the last little while. Feel free to call in with your questions to 514-790 800 or text into 514-800. And when you text in, don't forget to write your name in the text so that we can actually give you proper kudos. And of course, if you have a chance, please go on newsonthego.ca, which is our YouTube channel where all these shows live and breathe, and you can actually see all the fun stuff, including Merav drinking her coffee. There you go.
Yes. There's also our podcast on Spotify, so definitely for those of you who prefer listening to it in the car,
yeah, absolutely.
That's an option as well.
100%.
Yes. So you talked about multiple offers.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So multiple offers, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You go into a situation, and this is what we've been seeing time and time again. Gone are the days, they'll probably come back. So, before I get, a whole bunch of hate mail, they're going to come back. But gone are the days where you're able to go into a decent property without having, a dozen other people in there making offers as well. Excuse me. So we have to make sure that we're prepared, and we have to make sure that we're going in, properly. Otherwise, we could potentially lose the house to someone else that's willing to pay more than us, or that has maybe different types of conditions set up or something like that. So it's an interesting market that we're in.
And why are we in this bidding war market right now, you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about how, COVID, the way, and I hate, I always try and avoid saying COVID, okay, like on our show, but it's the reality of our market. What happened was there wasn't a lot of inventory because of it. People that were thinking about selling their homes decided to hold off, and they're going to probably hold off until 2021 because either they didn't want people in their houses or whatnot. The other element was the stress test, which I've talked about it over and over again. And the stress test basically says that, when you qualify for a mortgage, you have to qualify for an interest rate that's much higher than what you're actually receiving. That in itself has kept people in their homes. So people that were actually thinking about selling their homes and upgrading, they can't. Some of them don't even qualify for the home that they're in with the stress test.
Because based on the new qualifying rate, you qualify for a lot less.
Exactly.
We had seen, about 20% less than what you would qualify on the actual contract rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. Less inventory on the market.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is it translates to higher prices. If the demand remains the same and the prices end up, the demand stays the same and the inventory drops, what you're going to have is an increase in prices. Right? Mm-hmm. And there's going to be bidding wars because there's less inventory available.
Everybody's fighting over the same real estate.
Exactly. Thus, the bidding wars.
Yes. So we do have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I do want to say, I want to add like a little asterisk to it, because I believe with, we're still a ways, they're Pfizer and the other company, Moderna, they're announcing, that they have the COVID vaccine and stuff. And I believe that, starting next year, we're going to start to see things really open up again. At that point, we'll probably see all those people that were thinking about listing their houses in 2020, they're going to list them. At that point, once they list their houses, plus the people that would have listed anyways in 2021, now we're going to have an increase in supply. But we're not going to see an oversupply. And that's the important part that you need to remember. So what we might end up seeing is a balanced market start coming 2021, mid 2021. Which is going to be welcomed. I think that it's going to be it's going to be important.
A lot of buyers are frustrated, and some of them, the mistake they make is thinking that they could go directly to the listing broker. So one of my key advices is have a real estate broker represent you, because it makes all the difference, especially when you're talking about multiple offers. You need that realtor to be there for you, to vouch for you, to explain to the selling broker what your story is, to provide documents that are necessary, to provide the backstory that's necessary, and to fight for you. And
Exactly.
You alone, without proper representation, it's very hard to do that.
Exactly. Absolutely. We have a quick text here from Gary, who wrote, and he actually sent a second message with his name. I appreciate that, Gary. Thank you so much. Heard that the market has plummeted in Westmount area recently. It has been red hot as of late. Is there any truth in this? No, they're absolutely not. So if I look at all our clients who are actually buying properties in Westmount, there is bidding wars.
Yeah, luxury market is very hot.
Exactly. Now, there is something that, you're not going to get the same thing as what, maybe you'll have like on a $600,000 house, where you're going to have a slew of people coming in to buy, because the rules are a little bit different. When you're buying a home that's over $1 million, the first thing that happens is you need 20% down. The 5% and 10% doesn't exist in that market. So because of that, you're going to start limiting the amount of people that are going to actually be buying out there. So you're not going to have the same bidding wars, but nonetheless, you do end up getting them.
Yes.
And I mean, you hang around with the realtors more than I do.
Yeah, I agree. And not just Westmount, a lot of the luxury market, it is still very hot, and there are bidding wars. And like you say, it's not at the same level as a $400,000 home that, there's a lot more interest in them, because there's just it's just a bigger market for it. But still, the luxury homes, there is a lot of demand for it. And there's, gone are the days where you pay, undervalue, or a lot, you get like the steal or the deal.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to pay asking price in a lot of cases, and over asking.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing that has plummeted in Westmount is the number of listings.
Well, that's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful where the information is coming from, because certain media outlets or certain people, they're going to say, the market has plummeted. Yes, the market has plummeted in the number of listings.
Yeah, we saw that in the newspaper.
Yes, absolutely.
Real estate is down by 27%. We're like, what are you talking about? Oh, number of listings down. Okay, be careful what you read.
Exactly. And analyze everything. I can come out right now. We've talked about the mortgage bonds, right? So, the last couple of weeks, this is what we've been talking about. And the mortgage bonds from a month and a bit ago have doubled. Okay, so I can come in and say they've gone up 100%, but they've gone up to 0.47.
They were undervalued.
They were way undervalued.
Yes.
So, I'm not going to say that, but it is important that you kind of keep things in perspective,
Yes.
right? When we come back, we're going to be looking at price and the issues you can face with offering too much above asking price. But first, we're going to go to the CJAD Traffic Center with Jill Fitzgerald. You're listening to The Real Estate Show, and today we're talking about multiple offers and getting your offer accepted. Feel free to call in to the show at 514-790-0800 or text in with your questions to 514-800 or to share your experiences, right? I mean, it's not just texts for questions. I mean, if you have a comment or you want to share an experience, by all means. We have a slew of texts here. Let's get to Josh first. If there is an offer, can a real estate agent tell me how much the other side is paying? Josh.
No.
Why?
Because it goes against Oaciq rules. You cannot divulge what somebody else's offer is. So you have to offer and hope that you've offered enough. Now, if your realtor, again, the importance of having your realtor, if your realtor has a good relationship with the selling realtor, then he'll understand a little bit of the range where we need to be, or he'll understand how many offers are competing with you. And at that point, you could say, okay, wait a minute, there's 10 offers. Chances are we have to up our game a little bit here. Your real estate broker is really your cheerleader. They're there for you. They're there to vouch for you. They're there to sell your story. And therefore, it's really, really important to have a real estate broker, as I was mentioning before the break, because that's going to help you figure out what's the right amount to offer. So to make a long story short, no, they can't divulge what the other offers are.
Okay. We have another text here. This one's funny, actually. This is from Marco. Hi, Elias. On the subject of multiple offers, most brokers set a date 1 week post listing for others to be presented. Example, all offers presented on X date. Is there any laws in submitting an offer before that? Can I bully in order to get my offer seen? Okay, we're going to answer the question, but more importantly, there's Elias Makos, Chris DeMakos, and Terry Kilakos.
And you're not Elias.
I'm not Elias. I'm Terry Kilakos. Although I find that we sound very similar. I guess it's the Greek kind of,
and both your names end with kos.
Yeah, that's it.
If you research CJAD Greek Greek announcer, I'm sure it's confusing.
It's me and Elias that come
probably.
up. So,
probably. So to answer his question, yes, the strategy, a lot of them do use the strategy of having a specific date to accept offers, and it's not to trick people. It's just for organization purposes. It's just easier for the seller to be presented with those 5 or 10 offers all at once to make a decision properly at once. Can you go in and offer before?
Yes, you can.
You could, but I mean, if the seller is insisting on a specific day, you know what I mean? You just run the risk of them refusing your offer and saying, just resubmit it on the deadline.
So here's the rules, okay? The rules are very, very simple with as far as OACIQ goes, and especially if you have, if you're going in by yourself to make the offer, you'll get bullied rather than they get bullied. It's the obligation of the real estate broker, according to OACIQ rules, to present offers as they come in within a reasonable timeline. Now, if you come in and the real estate broker says, we're only accepting promises to purchase on Tuesday, right? So they want to do it a couple of days after their open houses on the weekend. And you come in on the Sunday and you say, I'm giving you 24 hours to accept or refuse my offer. They're going to refuse your offer.
Because now you're being the bully.
Because you're being the bully, right? So it's just going to be refused, and they're going to say, no, we're not accepting anything. And the vendor, even if you're offering asking price, they're going to refuse it, right?
In some cases, I've seen it where they're very upset about it, but they still accept because it's such a good price, and they're so scared of not getting as good an offer a few days later. But I mean, again, I would rather play by the rules.
No, but I get his point. It's very frustrating.
It is.
Especially when you're going in by yourself, like you're going directly to the listing broker.
That's the mistake, though.
That's the mistake, 100%.
That's the mistake.
So we have another text. I was able to get an accepted offer on a house where the previous offer fell through. The agent gave me the inspection from the previous offer. I was wondering if that inspection should be enough or if I should still do my own. Saving the $800 could really help me. Thank you. So yes, you could use the other offer, the other inspection. It's great. What I would still do is I would pick up the phone and I would call the inspector that actually did the inspection, because besides the actual inspection report, you get a walkthrough of the house with that inspector. So you want to have the conversation with the inspector where he can say to you, yes, we visited, and maybe you won't pay $800 for it, for that little consultation. Maybe it'll be, 50 or $100. But it's definitely something that I would recommend you do. But if you, again, don't feel confident in the report that you received, take that report, keep it in hand, get yourself another inspector, and have them use the actual report that you give. Sorry, you got a text online from Chantal Desjardins. She says, my fave couple. I think she's dying to do a cameo. She's out of town, but as soon as she's out of
Chantal,
quarantine.
I'm sorry I took your place. Now let's talk about the obvious one, price. Yeah. I think that the price obviously will dictate. It'll help you
when making an offer.
If you're going to go 100,000 under everybody else, then there's a good chance they're not going to accept your offer.
Exactly.
So price.
So I've seen offers come in where the price, they'll offer $100,000 over asking and they win. And I've seen others where they'll offer $100,000 over asking and they're going to lose. And yet I've seen other ones where the offer is not as high as possibly other people, and they are chosen because of conditions.
Yes.
So price is not necessarily, and this is why I wanted Peter to come on the air with us kind of later on in the show. Peter is one of our top realtors at Northeast, and another Greek, by the way. His name ends with os as well. But, he's going to talk about this because in the last month, he's had two cases. One case, he was the listing broker. The other case, he was the buyer's broker. And in both cases, it wasn't price that determined whether or not the client received the property. So he's going to talk a little bit more about it. But even for us, I mean, let's take a look at, I'm going to go back in time to our country house that we had bought. We had something very similar occur.
Yes.
You're listening to The Real Estate Show. Excuse me. When we come back, we're going to be looking at what to do if someone else's offer gets chosen over yours.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Real Estate and Mortgage Agency.
You're listening to The Real Estate Show, and today we're talking about multiple offers and how to have your offer chosen. You can call in with your questions by calling in at 514-790-0800, or you could text in to 514-800, and don't forget to write your name in the text so that we can give proper kudos. We have a quick text here from Gary, which is probably Chantal that's texting this, okay? But she writes, we miss Chantal, especially when she, while on air texting in that she was the bomb. Oh, yeah. She would text in that she's the bomb. For sure, Gary is Chantal. Anyways, we have another text. Hello, good work for educating us. Can I get a Heloc from a 2-year-old mortgage to use it and purchase a property that I can then rent out? Yes and no. Okay, so the short answer is yes. Mm-hmm. The long answer is HELOCs, and that HELOC basically stands for Home Equity Line of Credit, have to be attached to a home that has at least 20% equity in it. The only time that a HELOC becomes available is once that you've reached that 20% equity in there. So if you're had it for a couple of years, your equity has gone up, you've paid down the mortgage, and now you want to add a HELOC to it, no problem. You could do it through the bank that you're with. We could do it through the bank that you're with. Or if your bank doesn't offer it, because there are some banks that don't offer it, we actually have a way of tacking on a second rank HELOC, home equity line of credit, that can free up $50,000 or $100,000. And then, yes, you can use that money for the purchase of another house. The important thing to remember is that the numbers that are going to be on that home equity line of credit, so in other words, the payments for it, are going to have to go into your indebtment ratios. And when they go into the indebtment ratios, it will determine whether or not you'll actually qualify for the purchase of the next one. Hope that answers the question.
Definitely he would have had to put at least 20% down to free up.
Yes, exactly. Unless his house has exploded in value, which we've seen also.
We've seen as well.
We had a client that bought less than a year ago, and they had kind of underpaid a little bit. They needed to refinance this year to do some renovations, and the price had gone up significantly, and they were able to liberate about $60,000 out. So it comes up. We have another text. Have a real situation. Want to discuss the topic of offer with the acceptance deadline earlier than the deadline provided by the listing broker. Rajan, affiliate real estate broker. Have a real situation. Want to discuss the topic of offer with the acceptance deadline earlier than the deadline provided. Arun, give a little bit more clarification, unless you got that.
I think we do need a little bit more clarifications. So if you could just send in a follow-up text.
He called. He's on the phone.
Amazing.
Let's get Arun on the line. Hey, Arun, what's going on, brother?
How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Busy times, actually.
Absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to discuss from a buyer's point of view.
Okay.
I'm telling you a real situation. The
Yes.
people are I sold their houses. Now they're looking for houses. And all this was because of COVID. Like, I sold it in March.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to move out in
Wow.
July, August. And then for 2 months, we are not allowed to work.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, all this havoc has been created.
Yep.
That's the basic point. But I have a client, actually 2 of them. Let's say the listing was put up on Saturday, Sunday, and we visited it, and Monday we want to make an offer, but the deadline, the time to open the promise
bids.
of purchase is like, let's say, on the next Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay? As a buyer's point of view, I have a client who's interested in 2 properties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Once deadline is, and both the deadlines are, or let's say one is before or one is after.
Mm-hmm.
But my client likes the B first, which deadline is on
The Sunday.
next Sunday.
Yeah.
And in his list, A is like the B section is the one which has the deadline of Friday.
Right.
Okay. In that case, I don't have a liberty to go to Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to lose. He's living in
first
an
one,
Airbnb
of course.
with the 2 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a point of urgency. In that case, he asked me to make an offer on that and give, let's say, 24 hours max.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
As it would be very unfair to my client to not to even consider that offer. So
Yeah.
I have to present it.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. And I think your nickname is Raj. I see here.
Yeah,
Raj,
that's right. Most of the people know Raj, so that's why I put it there.
Yeah. So Raj, you're 100% correct. According to Oaciq rules, when you present an offer, the listing broker has an obligation to entertain that offer, even if they say we're only taking offers on this date.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Merav.
No, that's
right?
true.
It's okay. So you can put it in. The worst thing that they're going to come back and they're going to say, no, we're refusing. If they say that they're refusing, say, well, you know what? I'm sorry. If they tell you we're not going to look at it until the next time, until it opens up, you say it's your obligation to present it to your vendor. Okay, I've presented an offer. I have a 24-hour limit. There's another property. If you guys are not interested in this, there's another one that we want to go see. And most real estate brokers, okay, and I'm talking about the good ones. I'm not talking about the bullies, are going to say, okay, you know what? We'll present it. Let's see what the other person has to say. Right, Merav? I mean...
No, I had actually one of the brokers we were dealing with, and we made an offer of something.
Yeah.
It did happen that, let's say, the deadline was Sunday, and we were giving 24. Actually, we were giving even less, but the listing broker was very cooperative.
Perfect.
So what he did was he goes, okay, he asked for 24 or 36 hours, and what he did, whosoever was interested, he sent a simple notice that, okay, we are getting an offer, and he had 2-3 offers in the meantime in those 36 hours.
Great. And did you guys get the property?
No, not that one.
Not that
in
one.
actuality, I'll give you another case.
We have 1 minute. We have 1 minute. Go for it.
Okay, I'll go past.
Yeah.
In that one,
Yeah.
it was in the range of 800,000,
Mm-hmm.
and my client was really desperate, and that did work out.
Good.
We gave them a more than asking price,
Yeah.
and I go, look, if your client is not comfortable, okay, but at least give me that opening.
Yeah.
To be fair to my client. And believe me, they accepted
worked.
It worked.
Good. I'm very happy, Raj. It's very frustrating for myself as well as to see like what's happening in the market, just as I'm sure you're frustrated and a lot of other people are. Thanks, Raj, for the call. We have another text from Molly. I was looking to buy a co-property. Everyone is saying don't buy it. Can you give me the pros and cons? Yes, we can, but we're running up against the clock here, so I think I'm going to actually talk about it right after traffic. But there's nothing wrong with co-properties. We're going to look at it.
Is it divided
shortly.
or undivided?
I would think it's undivided. Okay. Molly, if you want to just text and say whether it's undivided or divided. Sorry, I'm losing track here. Coming up, we're going to be talking to a real estate broker about what he does with his buyers to increase the chances of their offer being accepted, and that's Peter. You're listening to The Real Estate Show on CJAD 800. Now we're off to the CJAD Traffic Center with Jill Fitzgerald. Thanks for tuning in. Today's discussion is about bidding wars, multiple offers, and how to get your offer to stand out against all others. On the line, we have Peter, but we're not going to get to him just yet because Merav has something important to say, and I just want to get to that text message that we had. So let's talk about conditions. And there was actually Chris that I spoke to on the phone during the break who had a question about getting his offer accepted. Speaking of conditions that can help you.
Yes, so definitely the price. A lot of people focus on price, but there's definitely a lot of conditions that can help you as well. Number one, it's the financing condition. Shorter time delays on financing. So if you need less time to get a mortgage or no time to get a mortgage, obviously an all-cash offer will be more attractive. They don't have to wait those 10, 12 days to get your mortgage approval and possibly have a situation where it falls through. Mm-hmm. That's why pre-approval letter is really important with your offer. Occupation date. You can come in and say, I'm going to occupy at the date that they want. Somebody else wants at a different date, and that they could sway towards your offer. No inspection. Obviously, we don't recommend it, but if you feel confident or if there is a previous inspection report, then no inspection could definitely get them excited about your offer. And of course, you have the other ones like giving a deposit with your offer, making you look more serious. If you have a conditional offer, like I have to sell my house in order to buy this house, that definitely deters them a little bit from you because they don't know when your house is going to sell. Yeah. So it's these little things that if you're just aware of it and if you're working with the right realtor, they will definitely advise you properly on that.
Okay, sounds good. Peter, are you there?
Hi, Terry.
How you doing?
Hi, Peter.
How are you, Merav?
Good.
Peter is one of our realtors at Northeast.
He's the real estate broker extraordinaire.
Exactly. We love him. He's one of our tops, and we're very proud of him. So, Peter, I know you've been listening to the show.
Yep.
Talk to me. What have you seen? I know we've talked about a couple of examples that you had of where price wasn't necessarily the determining factor of them getting accepted.
Exactly. So obviously, we're not going to. First of all, thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
It's not necessarily always. Which most of the times, let's just be straightforward. When a seller wants to sell, and there's like 7 or 8 offers, he's smelled blood, or he or she has smelled blood, and they usually will go for the highest offer. Now, there is situations, and I would say about 90 to 95%. But there is that 10 or 5% that will look at other things. So when you have multiple offers, first of all, are you flexible? Merav, you mentioned this right before, dates and stuff like that in all your conditions. Now, I'll give you two specific scenarios that I had when I was a listing broker. Mm-hmm. I was selling a condo in Verdun. And this is a beautiful condo, and I received 4 offers. And the 4 offers were well within a $10,000 range, up, down, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, the sellers, due to the COVID, I know, Terry, you don't want to mention the name, so that's why I just...
Spelling it out.
So what happened was, in this situation, there was a $10,000 swing up down from the listing price, and the client ended up picking one offer that really stood out because every offer was presented via email or Skype or something like that, but the one buyer that they selected was the one that had a cover letter. You know, it sounds cheesy, very high school, like a little love letter or something. But you know what? That specific situation made the entire deal. A cover letter that kind of explains a little bit about yourself.
Who the buyer is, right?
Who the buyer is. And they had a couple of pictures of themselves, of their little dog and stuff like that. And you know what? It really touched the sellers. And it was like, I guess the highest at that point, I could say it now, is about $5,000 difference. And they said, you know what? I like these people, or I felt for them. So they ended up saying $5,000 less, but you know what? Here it is.
I love it.
Very beautiful. On another situation where I was representing the buyers, it was the same thing. I told them you should write a cover letter. There was about, I think, 9 or 10 offers on this. This was a place in Chambéry.
Wow.
And there was another condo again. There was about 10 offers, and we were not the highest ones in price, but we did have a cover letter, and we did have flexibility on dates. We had written in the promise to purchase the time that you need.
Right.
For you to move out, because we do understand the situation where to sell today is very easy, but on the flip side, to buy is not so easy. So when I presented my offer and I said, we will give you the time you need to move, the person called me right away, how much time is all the time you need? And I'm like, what do you need? 3 months, 4 months? We ended up coming down to a 3-month agreement. And because it was a few $1,000s less, just because of that occupation date, was the one that sealed the deal for the offer. So it's not always price driven. Most of the times it is, unfortunately, but
you do get those cases where
you have
being
to do
human
everything.
goes a long way.
Yes, and do you think that your buyers would have had the same success had you not represented them? Had they gone directly?
No. As a listing broker, I do both. So as a listing broker, for some reason, there's a lot more organization when you're dealing with another broker. I'm not saying that a buyer that comes not represented is not, but it just things become a lot smoother. You're not running around to get certain documents or pre-approvals. Things are usually packaged together when you're getting presented an offer. And a broker in this type of market, when it comes to a seller's market, it's a plus. You need to have him. Have him or her.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your input.
You're very welcome, guys. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
End of weekend.
Yeah. We have officially run out of real estate here. We're right up against the clock. There's a slew of texts I didn't get to, so I'm going to actually respond to all the text messages with my number. And if you guys want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to. If you want to get a hold of me at the office, you can reach us at 514-680-4674, or you could visit us online at
www.nordest.ca.
You want to spell it out?
NORDEST.ca.
All right. Till next week, everyone. Have a blessed week. Love you all.